The Sop Motorsport event. We are on the formation lap for race number 2, which is actually race number 3 of the 2-hour endurance race around Misano, and I'm joined in the commentary box by Mr. Rainmaster, who had an outing in race 1.
Good evening, Simon. It's good to be with you guys. I see they are busy doubling up and getting ready to go into the last corner here. Shoot, let's hope we get a clean first 3 corners here.
Yeah, so we will ride on board with our pole sitter, FRT Ant. They've had a good show in the FRT team so far in race 1 and 2 as the green flag drops. We will see who gets the whole shot into turn 1.
Mike's trying. I like that. Mike the Killer is definitely trying.
And I'm just looking through the order. It looks like everybody got through the first couple of corners cleanly.
Yeah, it looks that way. That's good news. It's good with the cars off. Getting through without any hassles. That's great.
And we will just ride back on board with the pole sitter, ladies and gentlemen. FRT leads them round on the opening lap. Mike the Killer's there in second place. He's looking to challenge right round the outside of FRT ANT then, so he's putting the pressure on early doors. We've got JJ Penguin, he's there in third place, the Australian, followed by Militant 95 and Grinch the Redline. That makes up your top 5.
Yeah, the first 3 look like they are breaking away. It looks they might 2 Mercs and an Audi. Jeez, these Audis, you know, Baggy was in his Audi in race 1, showing everyone the way. It's like we might have another Audi do the same race 2.
Yeah, so the Audis perform very strongly around Misano, as does the Mercedes.
Both Mercs run wide there, Mike the Killer and Penguin.
Yeah,
wide.
and he's wide again, he's wide
Mike
again.
decides to go wide again. Oh geez, that's going to give a few of them a run there.
So JJ Penguin then has moved up into second place, Militant 95 the beneficiary up into third. Mike the Killer's losing all sorts of places as he's being challenged by Grinch the Redline as well.
Yeah, I think he's been rattled now. He needs to take a breath, get back into motion mode. All that's done is that's given FRTA, he's got a 2-second gap on everyone now. He's going to just check out if he keeps that up. They've got quite a battle going on behind. Penguin and Militant looks like he is looking for a way past.
Yeah, the timing deltas have just updated, and FRT is almost 3.2 seconds ahead, so he's pulled away.
Let's have a look and see. Let's see. I'm watching Grinch Redline. See what he does.
Yeah, there's a big gaggle of cars forming behind JJ Penguin now, because he's followed by Militant, Mike the Killer, THKKR and Grinch the Redline. As I am riding on board with Grinch, he's trying to find a way past THKKR, but he can't quite make it work this time around.
Yeah, it almost looks like you see as a Penguin is holding him up, but they're just running such close pace that they're just not really open.
Well, this is the thing, FRT and he's away with the win because he's 3.5 seconds ahead. JJ Penguin can't even see him down the start line straight, and he's got Militant 95 breathing down his neck, and there's a big gaggle of cars forming behind because Mike the Killer, THKKR, Grinch the Redline, and then you've got AJ to the P.
There we go. Militant's gone for it. He's gone for it. He's put it down the inside. Block pass there. Proper block pass.
That's a fantastic move then.
Yeah, that was great. Let's see if Penguin is going to be able to return the favour. Here comes Mike. Mike's having a look. And he backs out of it there. I'd be interested to see if Militant can pull away now from Penguin and try and chase down FRT in the front. He's another second out of them.
Yeah, it did just look like JJ Penguin was holding up Militant ever so slightly, so whilst these guys have been battling away just behind, FRT is now almost 5 seconds ahead and has only been 2 laps.
Yeah, no, he's definitely looking like he's pulling away. So let's see, hopefully someone can chase him down.
Well, right now then, ladies and gentlemen, the running order with 5 minutes gone is FRT is leading the way. He put it on pole, he dealt with the pressure on the opening lap and he's away and gone. Militant 95 has moved up into second place then, he's found his way past JJ Penguin, as we do have Mike Tequila who's having a wide exit on the final corner, and he saw the grass. THKKR in the Porsche, he's a bit of an anomaly here because he's surrounded by Audis and Mercedes. And Mike Tequila has now dropped down into 5th place.
I see Penguins, looks like he's run wide as well. He's got the Grinch coming down. Yep, the Grinch has taken him. Oh, and the Grinch has run wide. He just gives the place straight back there. I'm going a little bit down down the order here, because I see they've got a bit of a second group forming up here. Or between 5th, say, what is that, yeah, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, they look like they are quite close together.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out, AJ to the P, he's moved up into 5th place then, he qualified down in 10th, so he's already made 5 places, and he's pulled away from JJ Penguin, who's dropped down to 6th, so JJ and the Grinch are having a battle over 6th and 7th, and we haven't touched on the rest of the runners and riders. We've got D-Strap in the Lamborghini, he's up into 8th place now.
And we've got a sole Aston Martin. My goodness, it's not every day we see the Aston being used in the races anymore. So we've got, how would we say that, Tyson Green?
Tyson Green, right, yeah, that's right.
There we go. There we go. Well, he's running in 10th. In the sole Aston, that's brave. We'll need to high five that man after the race, because that's a very brave move, taking on an Aston.
And it's great to see all these runners and riders so closely matched actually. There's less than a second that seems to separate every single driver from 4th all the way down to the back of the grid, but I'm just going to the back of the grid now as we see Etienne Moreno in the barriers. On the final turn, he's a spinner on the start line straight, so he hasn't got that Audi facing the way he needs it to be. And another unfortunate racer is Ian TDI running in 17th. He is usually right at the front of the grid in these Sop Motorsport events, so I'm not sure what's happened to him. We missed that one. Tropic Rot is running in 16th place in the Lamborghini, and he is just behind TRO 246, so they're the 4 guys running at the rear of the field.
So it looks like FRTA has got competition. Militant has taken
sorry to interrupt, FRT's just lost it.
He's lost it. Oh my word, he's lost it. Well, there we go. Militant
Commentator's curse.
There we go. That's that's exactly what that was. Now let's see if he can actually catch back up to Militant, because Militant took a full second that lap out of him. So let's see what happens there. Let's see if he makes something up.
Yeah. So just to touch on Militant 95 then. Militant 95 is such a very fast driver, but he is prone to make the odd mistake every now and again, which is very unfortunate because whenever he is on it, and he's winning these events. So hopefully he doesn't put a foot wrong this race.
Yeah, especially with this endurance. I mean, he's still got an hour and 15 minutes to go, so let's hope he keeps the concentration going.
Anything can happen.
I see Mike the Killer is having a great battle with Penguin, and AJ has made his way up. AJ is up to 5th place. He is coming, and he is coming quick.
Yeah, just someone who's dropped back actually is THKKR. I don't think the timing screens have updated because it's showing him in 3rd place, but he seems to be behind Mike and AJ right now, so we'll wait for those to update.
I see the Grinch is coming. He is coming after Penguin. He is on a mission to steal Penguin's spot there. Poor Penguin. I had a good laugh earlier in the day. I made a comment when I saw the Grinch's name. And I said to him, is he coming to steal someone's, is he coming to steal a few places from a few guys on the track? And it took him a while to respond to that. And eventually he got there. He said, we just better keep an eye out on him and see what he does. He's up there to nab a few things. So let's see what he does.
He's not coming to steal Christmas, he's coming to steal your race position. But he does run wide, and that's going to allow D-Strap to close right to the back of him. And these top 8 now, they seem to these top 8 have pulled the gap now to the rest of the field. So Mr. Death Zone and Taisho and Green are holding the 9th and 10th place.
See, they've got a little battle going on here between Tyson and Mark. So I wonder if he's named himself after Mark Marquez or actually after Mark Wahlberg when Mark had his band when he was a young lad, many years ago.
Well, that's certainly a question to ask him in the briefing room after the race. But
I think that is definitely something to ask him.
Yeah, there's definitely a good race developing for that final 10th place position, because Marky Marks and Murcielago are just behind him. And it's interesting to see the difference from the opening streamed race, because there's only one Bentley in this race compared to 5 that were all running at the front of the grid in race 1.
Yes. Yeah, see here, the flavour of the day looks like it's the Porsches and the Audis.
Yeah, and I'll just ride back on board with FRT because he hasn't been able to close that gap from Militant 95 yet. The gap's still around 2 seconds. But those two are pulling away.
It was 2.5, so let's see what happens. It was 2.5 about the previous lap, so just maybe it's going to be interesting. We'll have to keep an eye out and see what he does there.
And obviously something we don't know in the commentary box is what fuel these guys are running, how long they're going into the race. So everybody's pace is sort of almost irrelevant at this stage because the pit stops are going to be where everything plays out.
We've got to wait. Yeah, we've got to wait and see. So I know there's maybe 3 options. Option 1 is just do one stop where you take your fuel, your tires, and then you just do like a stop and go at some point during the race. Second option is I think that's what Baggy did. He did a 2-stopper, split the race in 3, grabbed some tires, grabbed some fuel, and just he clearly showed us all the way. Not sure if he did take tires on each stop, but that is one of the other options. And then basically the other option is like Red Fly did, was do one long stint and then do 2 short stints where you then run low fuel loads for the second half of the race. So it's interesting to see which strategy some of these guys will take. We should know probably in about the next 15 minutes or so if someone does decide to do a pit stop.
Well, I do just wonder if FRT is going to make an earlier stop than usual, because he did spin, and I wonder if those tyres are just going to be a bit more damaged than they should be at this stage of the race.
That will all depend on what his strategy, and he runs wide there as well. It will all just depend on what's his strategy. If he's planning just to do the theoretical one stop with the tyre change, you're going to have to try and make those last for at least the hour. Otherwise, you're going to kill the tyres in the second half of the race, that last 10 minutes.
And an interesting battle developing between AJ and Mike Tequila. If AJ manages to find his way past, we're going to have an Audi in the top 3 here for this race 2 of Misano.
and it'll be Audi 1, 2, and 3. Wow, that is something.
D-Strap's moved up to 7th as he does just run wide actually. Just riding on board with D-Strap, he was wide on the final exit and Grinch is all over the back of him then, so hopefully he doesn't succumb to the pressure of Grinch.
Yeah, let's see what happens. That is quite close. I've picked the Grinch. I'm going to support him tonight, so I'm hoping he gets past. Let's see.
He has just dropped down the order ever so slightly. I think he qualified in 4th or 5th, so he does seem to be dropping back because D-Strap has found his way past him at some point in the opening 15 minutes.
He's taking an interesting line over that one corner. I wonder if he's not getting track limit notifications. Three of us got drive-through penalties in race 1, which was quite hilarious because it's three of us from the same community over at LNR, so it was quite hilarious. Yeah. All 3 of us got a drive-through penalty for track limits.
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments in the chat. Thanks for joining us, guys. There's Baggy's just made a very good point about AJ because he's decided to switch to the Audi for this race instead of his trusted Bentley, and as we know, AJ comes on strong as the race develops, as was shown in that opening race. I wonder if he's going to try and use the same tactic to propel himself up the grid.
Let's see how that goes. It would be interesting to see. Baggy, did he maybe share his setup with AJ, you know? Maybe a secret Baggy setup to make him go super quick, you know?
I'm just riding back on board with the leader because Militant 95 is already coming under some traffic, so he's got some back markers and he's got some blue flags being waved. I wonder if he's going to let him through as we ride on board. Hopefully he doesn't defend the inside. He doesn't defend the inside, so Militant is through the back marker as FRT is now 2.3 seconds adrift, so he still hasn't been able to close that gap.
Yeah, it seems to be stable round about there, which on the one side is maybe a good thing because with him spinning, he'll still be able to match Militant, so it could be a good sign at this point. But as you said, I think it just depends on what strategy these guys are running with fuel loads.
It's interesting to see THKKR here. He never ever changes car. He's always stuck with his trusty Porsche, and he just seems to be the only one currently who's making the Porsche work, really sticking it to these Audis and Mercedes.
Well, the Grinch is still sticking with D-Strap. He hasn't let him get away. He's still within half a second of him. Then we've got how would we pronounce that? Murcielago?
Murcielago, that's it.
Ian and Marky Mark, they are having a battle. Porsche versus Bentley.
Now, I would like to say in this battle that it's an obvious one to suggest that the Bentley is kinder on its tyres and it is better on its fuel, so I wonder if Marky Marks is he's just pushing a little bit to try and defend from Murcielago here, and he's going to be damaging his tyres.
Did they both pass Tyson Green? Looks like it.
They have indeed.
So he's fallen back. He's lost about 2 seconds over them.
And I'm just going to go to the rear of the field because Tropic Rock has made his first pit stop, so he's the first one to blink in this race. It's going to be interesting to see where he pops himself back. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But AJ to the P, we'll ride on board with AJ to the P because this is the closest he's...
AJ's caught up to Mike the Killer.
He's looking for a move.
I think Mike is feeling like the victim. He's definitely not going to be the killer at this point. I think he is about to be killed by AJ.
The hunter has become the hunted.
That's it. The killer is becoming the victim. But yeah, Baggy is right. AJ definitely looks like he is getting quicker with this Audi as the laps are ticking over. I wonder, are they actually catching up to FRTA? They are currently 2.8 seconds behind him. Let's keep an eye on that, as he seems to have lost another half second to Militant. It's gone from 2.3 to 2.8, so he's definitely.
Oh, he's wide, Mike is wide, Mike the killer is wide.
Mike is wide, there we go. Let's see if AJ gets the run. He's gone for the inside.
He gets the move done.
How that goes. Oh, there we go. Oh, that is so close. Let's see if Mike can get the cut back on him.
Oh, AJ almost loses it.
AJ's run right. Mike's followed him. Mike followed him there. The slipstream down there was just a bit too much for Mike. Now let's see. AJ does look like he's got a ton more speed. He just looks like he's pulling away instantly.
Wow, this is the thing with AJ to the P. He's one of these gentleman drivers. Even though he'll put pressure on you, he won't go for the obvious lunge. He's happy to sit behind. He's really patient with his racing because he knows how long his races are and he knows what type of damage can be caused if any incidents do happen. So he's more than happy to sit behind and be patient until the opportunity arises to get the pass done. And there's no doubt about it. I'm sure he will put the power down now to close up onto the back of FRT.
He's pulled 1.3 seconds out of poor Mike. Yeah, no, Mike. I think we're gonna have to rename Mike after that one. He's gonna have to become Mike the victim. He's definitely not Mike the killer. He got killed. He got killed on that one. And if he's not careful, he's got THKKR coming quite quick from the looks of it.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. That is something that I am monitoring also. He's only he's less than a second behind him now, so Mike the Killer is really dropping off.
Yeah, and then my trusty old Grinch is chasing down D-Strap. They are within 0.3 of a second of each other, so...
Oh, AJ's lost it. AJ's lost it.
Oh no, has AJ lost it?
Oh, Mike's losing it. Mike's losing it.
Oh, Mike's lost it. Those bollards are terrible. I call them the Superman because when I hit them with my Bentley, I see blue skies and I feel like Superman.
The sausage curves of death.
They are absolute just kamikaze, launch you into the air type stuff. It is absolutely horrible.
Well, this is absolutely fantastic to see, ladies and gentlemen. You've had AJ make a move on Mike the Killer, AJ get it wrong, Mike moved back past AJ, and then Mike get it wrong. And AJ is now back up into third, and he's got THKKR all over the back of Mike.
I was about to say, and look who has joined the party. THKKI in his Porsche, just silently. I think he's rubbing his hands together. I'm just like, you two mess up, I will collect the spoils.
I'm just going to have a look a bit further down the orders. We've been focusing on this battle for quite some time now.
We have.
So JJ Penguin, he qualified third and he's dropped down to 6th, unfortunately. As you just mentioned, Grinch and D-Strap are inseparable, they're in 7th and 8th. Mr. Death Zone is 9th and Murcielago is there in 10th. He seemed to pull a little bit of a gap to Marky Marks now, as Taisho... He has, yes, so Taisho Green is there in 12th, followed by Armento. Ian TDI has moved up to 14th after being at the rear of the field. T-Sar Bobby is in 15th, TRO is 16th, Tropic Rot is 17th, and at the rear of the field, completing his first pit stop, is Etienne Moreno.
I see Mike is in the pits. Mike has gotten in the pits.
So he is the first to blink of the front runners.
So that, to me, that tells me he is doing the two-stop with either taking tyres on both or just running the fuel load and will take tyres on his next stop. I think the way it's set up, he will probably be doing tyres on both stops.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one, because as AJ, Mike and THKKR were locked into battle, they've fallen 5 seconds behind FRT there, so FRT's got a bit of breathing space, but he has also dropped 4 seconds behind Militant 95.
So Mike is definitely doing tyres. He's only leaving his box now. So he's definitely taken tyres on that stop. So this will be interesting to see how this goes, and see if the rest of the front guys follow suit to counter what he's done.
Well, it's interesting because there's still an hour and a half left to go in this race. That's an awful long time to run on just one set of tyres. So, and we know
I think he's definitely doing. Yeah, he's definitely gonna. I think he's committed himself to a two-stop with two sets of tyres, changing tyres. So let's see. That means he can push a lot harder, so he can actually be a lot more aggressive. So let's see if that pays off. Aggressive and low fuel load. That around the circuit, that might just help. Looks like the whole field is spread out a bit now.
Yeah, after the earlier battles then, so half hour gone, and the top 5 are certainly spread out, but Grinch is all over the back of JJ Penguin now. That's one to watch. D-Strap. Well, D-Strap has dropped off the back of Grinch.
D-Strap, where's gone? Yeah, he must have made a mistake, but I think Penguin might have made a mistake as well, because Penguin was way ahead of them. For him to only just be ahead of the Grinch.
Yeah, so Grinch is definitely having a good comeback drive then, after dropping down the order early on.
Yep. Got rid of those jitters, the start jitters. Too much, adrenaline, a lot of adrenaline pumping through. Let's have a look. He's having a look.
As we predicted earlier on, we do have 3 Audis in the 3 podium positions with 30 minutes gone in this race, ladies and gentlemen. Militant 95 is 4 seconds ahead of FRT, who is 5 seconds ahead of AJ to the P. So the top 3 are spread out now by 10 seconds. THKKR is 3.2 seconds adrift of those top 3. JJ Penguin has to deal with the pressure from Grinch, who has pulled a bit of a space on D-Strap. Mr. Death Zone is there in 8th, Murcielago is there in 9th, and Marky Marks completes the top 10. All these are pretty spread out now.
Yeah, the whole field looks like they've all settled into a rhythm. We've got someone in the pits coming, Etienne Moreno. I think he's parked it. He has gone 3 laps down. I wonder if he's not decided, that's it, I'm done.
So his race seems to be run.
Looks that way. He is 3 laps down, so just keep an eye out to see if he does exit the pits, but it does not look like that. Doesn't seem like anything's going on.
It's going to be interesting. I'm going to follow closely the progress of Mike to Kill. It's going to be interesting to see where he reappears once everybody completes their opening stops.
I see that in 12th place, Armento is all over Tyson Green. They are separated by, timing says 0.7, but you could probably fit in, Armento is looking down the inside.
So the Aston Martin is just dropping back ever so slightly every couple of laps.
Yeah, it seems that way. I wonder if it's not maybe tyres. The Aston, I think, is not really great on its tyres.
as the Grinch does come in for his pit stop then. So he was on the back of D-Strap and JJ Penguin. He is now into the pits, so he's going to be trying to make the undercut work.
I think the guys in the first race, everyone seemed to have gone for the one-stop fuel and tyre strategy. Here in race 2, it does look like the guys are actually going for the opposite, where they are going for the 2 sets of tyres with low fuel loads.
Well, it's an interesting one, because as we discussed before we came on stream, didn't we, about how the overcuts seem to just work wonders in that opening race. The later the guys done the pit stop, the more benefit they had later in the race.
Yeah, so let's have a look. So now we've got a few guys that we can keep an eye on, but Mike is, so he's still in 15th. Let's see if he comes out ahead of the Grinch and Tyson Green, because he puts it, looks like, where is he now on the track? Yes, he's definitely gone past him. I think the timing screen just needs to, there we go. Yeah, he's past him. And he looks like he's made quite a bit of time on him, so
he was in clear air. He was in clear air. Mike was in clear air, so he should be able to make some good progress on those fresh tyres. And he is leading the guys who have made their pit stops.
The guys who's pitted. Yeah, the Grinch is 12 seconds behind him. So that is that's quite. Mike might be onto something here with going with the different strategy, because the rest, if they are not pitting probably the next 5 minutes, then I think they are all going with the theoretical one-stop option. And Mike is pushing. If you look at the lines he's taking, he is driving aggressively.
Well, you would like to think that he's trying to put in those qualifying times now in clear air. He doesn't need to try and battle with AJ to the P anymore. He doesn't have to worry about the pressure from THKKR. So
I'm out quali laps, one after the other. Turn it up, full send it, just go mad.
And that's the interesting thing with these strategies. You don't know how much fuel he's put on board for this stint. He could be doing a short stint on these tyres, and he's going to absolutely obliterate everything he can in a short amount of time to try and close that gap back up, and then he's going to do one longer stint to finish the race. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Adding the 2 pit stop with having to do fuel at least on both pit stops, it's definitely thrown a slight spanner into the works, I would say. So it definitely makes it a bit more entertaining. But yeah, at this stage, so we've got Militant. He's on lap 20. He's got an hour, just under an hour and a half still to go. So we've been racing for about 33 minutes at the moment. Then we've got FRT in second, 5 seconds behind. And then you've got AJ in third, who is 5 seconds behind FRT, and he does not seem to be making inroads on that gap. I think
no, he's not.
Roughly.
Yeah, these top four drivers are all 5 seconds apart from each other, so they've certainly spread themselves out.
Yeah, and even I think THKKR has actually fallen off of AJ, because I'm sure he was a little closer when AJ had that runoff a little bit earlier, and he's 5.5 behind him. And then we've got Penguin that seems to have eventually settled down and having some clean air finally, and in 5th place. Then there's a big gap, 15 seconds to 6th place. It's the dead zone. He's running in 6th, and he seems to be all on his own. Then,
I'd just like to touch on Mr. Desson actually, because he was running just outside the top 10 the last time we actually rode on board with him. So he's
definitely made some inroads there.
Yeah, he's found his way up into 6th place right now, because he was certainly behind Murcielago, Marky Mark's D-Strap. Another one who's climbed up the field is Ian TDI. He's back up into the top 10 then after being the last
Yeah, he
of the
was
runners
quite
and
far
riders.
behind. Yes, he was somewhere 15, 14.
Yeah, it's going to
I
be...
think also probably what we got to take into account is some of the guys that have done their pit stops. Assume that would have affected some of the guys running, but they definitely moved up. He's definitely moved up quite a few spots.
Yep, D-Strap comes into the pits.
Yep, there we go, into the pits. 1 minute 25. I think that's probably your latest you'd want to do if you're going to do the 2 stops with taking tyres on both stops. Now would be that time. But here you actually at the point where you could do, like you said, that different strategy. Do maybe the same set like fuel load, and then on his next stop, take tyres and the heavy fuel. So still in that part where it's a little bit of an unknown what these guys are doing.
Well, that's the thing. I had a race on Monday with the Patreons we have within Sop Motorsport. We had an hour's race around Misano, and there was no pit stops, and by the end of the race the tyre tread on the Ferrari that I was in, so obviously you start the race with 3mm of tread, and after the hour's running the tyre tread on the Ferrari was only down to 2.2. So there wasn't really that much wear on the tyres after a whole hour's running. They say that the tyres are theoretically they're gone after they get down to about 1.5mm. So there's still quite a bit of tread left on them after the hour's running. So you know these tyres can go quite a distance.
But also I do think it's this track. It's as if Misano is not that aggressive on the tyre wear itself. I've seen from my side that when driving, the tyre temperature or overheating the tyre doesn't really, it's not as aggressive like some of the other circuits on the tyres, forcing them to being overheated and damaging them. So, and also track temperature is only 20 degrees. That definitely is helping tyre wear. That definitely would be helping. It might cause a bit of graining, but it definitely will help the tyre wear side.
Yeah, I think didn't the temperature in your race 1, it ended up finishing at around 10 or 11 degrees, so...
Yep, it was at 10 degrees when the race ended. It was, so you really got to make sure that you've adjusted your tyre pressures. So otherwise, you're going to be on run flaps by the time the track cools down that badly.
It's going to be interesting to monitor these top 3. Militant 95, FRT and AJ to the P. 5 seconds separate each of these drivers.
Yeah, and they're keeping it constantly there, so that tells me their lap times are consistent and consistently the same.
Yeah, someone who's dropping back is THKKI. He's now almost 8 seconds adrift.
Yeah, I think that Porsche it's not happy. It's eating up its tyres, I think. But he's in 4th place in the Porsche. The nearest Porsche to him is an 8th. So, and that Porsche is probably close about 25, 26 seconds behind him. So
yeah,
he's definitely got the better of the
stop.
rest of them. Yeah.
JJ Penguin, he's there running in 5th place, a further 6.5 seconds behind. Mr. Death Zone has moved up to 6th place. Murcielago is there in 7th, in the only Bentley running in this race.
That is astonishing, the only Bentley. Normally there is a whole, we always laugh and say, have we brought enough trucks with Bentley spare parts, because there's so many Bentleys in the races. And here we've only got one. That is, I think that's remarkable, that there's only one Bentley in this race.
It is usually one of the favourites when it comes to endurance racing, as is the Audi and Mercedes, however, which are running at the front of the field in this one.
Yes. I think that especially the Audi and the Merc, the Merc is just, I think the guys like it because the way you can set it up. It is one of the few cars. Oh, and as I see that Monsieur Lago, he kind of cut the one corner there. I think he made a chicane a straight line.
Well, the drivers have got to be careful because they've still got an hour and 20 minutes to go in this, and they don't want to be getting the drive-through for corn cutting. They don't want to be making any silly mistakes and getting any drive-through penalties for track limits, that's for sure.
So I do see that we've got Marky Mark and so seems to be no, there is I think they work close together. Timing, brought the timing hat in a little bit closer. It's Tro and Topic. There we go. Looking at the wrong cars. Tro and Topic, the guys that did do they've done their one stop already, and I see they are quite close together, within a second from each other.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of these events that we put on. We don't really focus on driver ability as in how fast they are. So what tends to happen is, because the drivers get to choose which event they'd rather be in based on time preference, whether you're at the front of the grid or at the rear of the grid, there'll always be someone that's roughly around your pace.
Yeah, I think we got to implement a little alien icon for all these alien drivers, so we know which races not to join, you know, so we have all the aliens chase each other.
Well, I'm still riding on Velvet Tropic, right, and he's trying to find a way past. He just got a bit hot on the brakes then on one of the exits, and he just missed his braking points. As does
and
Tro.
then Tro's run right. Yeah, Tro's run wide. He's definitely got. Oh, where Tropic? Oh, Tropic's completely run off track there. So I see Penguin has done his pit stop. So he is currently he's ahead of Mike. How far is
so
he?
There we go. Yeah. He is well ahead of Mike because no,
Penguin's behind him. The timing. There we go. Okay, Mike's ahead of him by 2.8 seconds.
And that's sort of how it was before these initial pit stops. So Mike was in a trio with AJ and THKKR, and JJ Penguin was just behind that battle as THKKR
has jumped in the pits. Yep, he's in the pits. So let's see, because he and Mike were quite close together. So let's see if Mike can actually. The TKKR is still sitting in the pits.
He's quite a long pit stop from THKKR then. He's going along for his second stint.
Yeah, there we go. The car's
we got a spinner. Who spun? Mento at the rear of the field is a spinner in his Ferrari.
TKKR is currently leaving the pits. Where is Mike?
Yep, Mike seems to have got the job done, I think.
Yep, Mike has got the job done.
And he's going to be, THKKR is actually going to be under pressure from the Grinch as well.
He's going to lose a few spots there.
So he does
he's got the Grinch right behind him. Let's see if the Grinch can pounce on him while he's got cold tyres. This should be interesting, because Grinch should be having he should have some toasty tyres, good grip, optimum levels. Let's see if THKKR, if he's going to be able to just pull away at the moment. Yeah, Mike's, I think it's paid off to an extent for Mike. He's jumped Penguin and he's jumped THKKR, and he was battling with them, so it's definitely, I'll call it round one in his favour. I do see that Militant's busy catching up to Penguin.
Yeah,
he's
so
about to lap him, so he's coming through to lap the guys.
the first round of pit stops has definitely been in favour of those guys who pitted early, so the undercut seems to have worked for these guys early on at this stage of the race. Because in theory you would think then if THKKR was running in 4th place, Mike Tequila is now inherited that 4th place position, and it's going to be interesting to see where he does come out in relation to AJ.
Well, we've got Murcielago in the pits in his Bentley. So basically we are going to be left with just like the top 5 guys, I think, that still need to do pit stops. So I think they are probably going for the safe option, which would be pitting on the hour and then just running it in that way.
Yeah, I'm going to ride back on board with Militant 95 because he's actually right on the back of JJ Penguin, who is sitting in 8th place. So Militant 95 has certainly got a move on, because if he's already coming up to lap JJ Penguin, who is in 8th place, who has already completed a pit stop, Militant 95 is definitely motoring on.
Well, Militant is pulling away. He's pulled another maybe 1.5 seconds out of FRT, because FRT is 6.7 seconds behind him, and AJ has lost another half second to FRT. So the boys in 2nd and 3rd, they just seem to not be able to catch up to Militant.
And just outside the top 3 then is Mr. Death Zone, so he's moved right up into 4th place whilst everybody else.
He is... that is quite a drive. He is, let's call it, what can we call that? Mr. Consistent at this point in time.
Yes, indeed. And Ian TDI, actually. Ian TDI is up into 5th. Obviously these guys still need to make their first pit stop, but it's very interesting to see how this top 5 and top 6 actually, because T-Sar Bobby is still to make a pit stop also.
So I take it Ian TDI, he is teammates with THKKR. They seem to be running the exact same livery. So I do take it that the 2 boys are theoretically in the same team. And they seem to have split their strategy to not run the same.
Well, if you remember, actually, Ian TDI had problems early on in the race on the opening couple of laps. He qualified in the top 10, but he found himself at the rear of the field, so we're not sure what happened with him there. I'm sure we'll find out in the driver's briefing afterwards. But yes, Ian TDI and THKK are teammates. They do run in the same team. They do run the same livery every single race, and they do. I think they run the same setup or the same strategies at least, because they usually running in formation when it comes to these events.
I do see that THKKR is not dropping the Grinch. The Grinch is sticking with him. So that's good news for the Grinch.
Someone is off. Someone
has spun off right there in front of them. Who was that? It's Tro. Tro's run off. But what is he doing? Is he going into the pits?
Nope,
Tro's just waited to let everyone pass. It's responsible driving there from Tro. I always like to see when the guys are doing the responsible thing and not giving someone a heart attack or a surprise.
Yeah, I'd just like to touch on that actually, because I didn't really see any incidents in the opening race, and I haven't really seen any incidents in this race, so it's been fantastic to witness 2 completely clean races so far.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Race 1, it was really great. When we came up to back markers, we didn't really have any issues. It was clean, and it's good to see that the drivers are respecting each other, giving each other space, not having to completely fight to get past the back marker, because that's always the worry with lapping someone is, are they going to block you?
I'm just going to ride on board with JJ. Sorry, I do need to interrupt you. JJ has just found his way past Mike. So JJ has moved past Mike Tequila then.
Oh, there we go. So Mike
Bit of
might
Mercedes
he
action.
might have burnt out. Yeah, he might have burnt out those tires because he's been running for what, probably about 20 minutes now, 20, 30 minutes. When did he pit? He pits at around 1 hour. Yeah, he pits at around 1 hour 30 minutes. So he's about 20 minutes on those tires. Where JJ's got fresh. He's got fresh rubber. I think he's got rubber that's quite a bit fresher.
Mike the Killer seems to have the pace when he's not needing to run in dirty air or battle with anybody, but as soon as someone's there on track with him, he just loses a bit of pace. He just doesn't seem to be able to handle pressure, and JJ Penguin just found his way past him quite easily, I think. I don't know if there was much of
he's pulling away.
Yeah, that's it. And we were just talking earlier on, Mike the Killer seemed to be putting qualifying lapping after qualifying lapping when he had that clean air. And we were thinking that Mike the Killer might reappear around where AJ to the P is, because they were closely matched early on in this race.
Our leader is in the pits. The leader is in the pits.
And that's a very quick pit stop.
He's leaving the pits. So let's see. Let's see what AJ and FRT does. Whether they respond to that. Militant has gone slightly early, 1 hour 10 minutes. So I wonder if the second half of the race he's not maybe going for a different strategy. The two shorter stints.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what type of undercut or overcut that does create, because we know the gap between Militant, FRT and AJ was all around 5 seconds between each of them.
Militant does not look like he's come out. Has he come out in clean air? No, he has not. He has got Ian TDI right in front of him.
Yeah, so the top 4 runners and riders then, they're your drivers who still need to make a pit. FRT now leads the way after taking pole position early on. He found himself coming under pressure from Militant 95, and he just dropped away from Militant as Militant found his way past. AJ to the P has moved up into P2 right now. He did qualify right down in P10, so he's had a fantastic drive up through the field in that Audi. He finished P2 in race 1 in the Bentley, and he is currently on track to have a repeat performance. Mr. Death Zone is now up into 3rd place, so he's having a fantastic race up into 3rd. As Ian TDI holds 4th, they're the 4 drivers who still need to make a pit stop, so it's safe to say currently your net leader is Militant 95. He is the lead driver who has made a pit stop.
That's now to see, is he just going to sit behind Ian, or is he actually going to catch Ian and then try and pass him and try and pull away? Because that will be key to what happens with FRT and AJ. You know, they only had a 5-second gap. He only had a 5-second gap over FRT. Sounds like a lot, but you could lose it in a blink of an eye being stuck behind someone who is theoretically racing in 4th position. He does not need to just yield and let him go past. He's lining him up. He is lining him up. Militant's gone for the inside line. I think Ian might have given him that. It looks like he's given him that. Maybe not. He is looking for a way past. And now it looks like Militant he's cleared that out, and let's see, now he's going to pull away. Let's see what happens. Now we wait in bated breath to see what the front 2 boys do, how long they take before they do their pit stops.
Yeah, and that pass was very, very important, because Militant doesn't want to be held by anybody in the battle for the win in this race, and that could have all gone wrong for Militant 95 if Ian did decide to try and defend.
Yeah, that would have, you know. So if we drop down a little bit further down the order, I see Marky Mark, Tallbody, and and is it Tyson Green? Yeah, there we go. Those 3 are back at it again. I swear we've been watching these three boys go at it the whole race.
I'm sorry, I missed that one. Who are we riding on board with?
We got Tyson Green and Marky Mark. They are back at it again. They were at it earlier on, and somehow with the pit stops cycling through, Tyson Green has found himself in front of Marky Mark again. So the let's say the Aston pit crew did a better job than the Porsche pit crew, because Tyson is in front of Marky Mark, and he was not. He was quite a way behind him.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle for that top 10 position, because D-Strap is now currently holding that P10. Murcielago is not too far behind in his Bentley, and then you've got Taisho and Green, Marky Marks and T-Sar Bobby. That trio of cars are all circulating nose to tail.
They are coming down. They're coming down. We've got Dead Zone that's just exited the pits now, and he has come out just in front of their strap. And then you've got Murcielago behind, and then back to Marky Mark, and then they're coming down pit straight now. They're having quite a good battle here.
I do just want to ride on board with Militant 95. We need the timing deltas to update, and we'll be able to see what type of gap there is between these drivers, as AJ now is looking to close the gap ever so slightly to FRT. The gap is into the 4.7 seconds, so it's dropped for the first time in quite a long time below the 5 second window.
Yes, he's I think it was at about 5.5, 5.6. So let's see what he does.
FRT is in the pits.
There we go. Okay, so you watch FRT in the pits. I will watch Militant.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride on board with AJ to the P. Also, he's obviously gone for the opposite strategy to FRT. So AJ to the P seems to be once again the final driver to make the first round of pit stops. We'll see what type of gap.
He's coming down the back straight at the moment. It does seem like he is so far behind. But number 17, FRT, is still stationary in the pits. So let's see. Blitzen is coming through the second. He's on his way through to the second last corner. Number 17 is still stationary in the pits. He's now started to leave the pits. This might be close. Blitzen's coming down the pit straight now. It all depends. FRT is still on his pit limiter, and Militant is flying down the pit straight. He's gone in. Theoretically, he has taken the place. There we go. I think it is a done deal. FRT is still in the pits. He's now released himself. So let's have a look and see if he's actually gained any time. He was 6 seconds behind when they went into the pits. He looks close. 2.6 seconds.
Yeah, the gap has definitely come down.
So he's gained 3.5 seconds that he gained.
FRT's gained 4 seconds on Militant during that pit stop window, yeah, so it's paid dividends staying out that extra long first stint.
So once again, the overcut has done better.
Oh, the stream's just cut out, mate.